So I've been fortunate to be around a lot of good basketball through 26 years in this profession. And what I just share with the team is I've certainly never prepared a team as poorly for full court pressure as we were prepared tonight. To beat VCU, it's got to be a terrific game as far as value, meaning we have to have something like, 8 turnovers for the game. We had 12 by halftime. And so one thing I've said to our team several times in the last few days, which I just leaned on too much, I said to them, I've never been around a team that's faced as much full court pressure through 13 games as you guys have. However, we certainly were not prepared to handle full court pressure. The other thing is VCU is the 7th best defensive team in the country. After this game, they're going to be better. They'll probably be 4th or 5th. And we certainly were not prepared to attack their ball screen defense effectively, and that's why they are so good. So VCU has had ups and downs offensively this year, but defensively their consistency has been at the highest level. And so we did not handle their full court pressure the way we would have to beat them. And secondly, we didn't handle their half-court defense the way we would have to beat them. And that really sums up the game.
When we spoke yesterday, you mentioned how important it was going to be to see your freshman, your young team, go against a team like that. After what you just said, what are the lessons that you want to take away both from for yourself and for the freshmen on the team? Yeah,
so I did, believe it or not, even though it wasn't a good outcome, I complimented a couple guys in the locker room after the game. I thought Ivan and Onyi actually did good things. Like Ivan and Onyi, they kind of filled their roles. And the fact that Jalen Cobb had a response to his start. So he had 3 turnovers. A couple of our turnovers, the VCU players literally just took it from us. And so the fact that Jalen responded and actually did some really good things after things didn't go his way, I was encouraged by that.
Coach, can you talk to me about going to Fordham Ghazi in the game today?
Yeah, so I certainly mishandled Air 10 as well, and what I mean by that is this: he's been able to practice with us 2 days, and so the last 2 days in practice, it's just been terrific to have him out there, and he's really played well. And so I'm traditionally a guy that kind of brings someone in slowly. And I really went with Air 10 tonight, and I played him. And a lot of it had to do with how well he practiced the last 2 days. So I do think that Air 10 is going to help this team in January, February, and March. He certainly wasn't at that point yet, but it's not his fault. He literally has practiced twice.
On the back?
Yeah.
Coach, you mentioned.
Yeah, brother, you got it.
You mentioned their ball screen defense. VCU's ball screen when they send to honor a lot of the times. What's the best way to combat that if they're doubling him at the top of the key and overplaying?
Yeah, so probably the first answer is don't ball screen. With that being said, what other teams do try to do is they try to maybe get the ball to the bigger player who's setting the ball screen around the free throw line. Maybe what they do is they look at the bigger player around the free throw line who's attracting some attention and then throw a pass to someone else. But they're basically doubling the ball, and they're committing 2 defenders to the ball. So that means everyone else should be playing 4-on-3. We really just had a tough time getting the ball out of that trap in a way that created an advantage for us.
Coach, can you talk to me about Nick Honor's confidence? Because I was surprised to see him play today. Not only missing shots, but it just seemed like that swag that he's had since he started the season was gone.
Well, it's certainly, Nick was not the player today that he's been. And so what causes that? Well, first of all, you're playing against Marcus Evans, who is an absolutely terrific guard. Evans hasn't scored the ball yet this year the way he will, but Evans is going to be a first-team all-conference player in this league. That's part of it. You're also playing against a defense that is committing 2 guys to the ball on every single ball screen. And so that does take away some of Nick's effectiveness. And so that was hard for him to handle today. So it was a new challenge, and a challenge against literally one of the 7 best defensive teams in the country. and we did not handle it well, and a lot of it does go back to my preparation of this team.
Was there a moment in the game where you took any solace or any positives in feeling like, you know what, even though we got beat today, that's something I can take away from you?
It didn't feel like that type of game. As I just mentioned, I did compliment those 3 guys in the locker room after the game, and it really has to do with the response. And so what I mean by that is most teams in the country are going to lose a game this year. And some teams are just going to fade away and go away. Some teams are really going to respond and recognize that, hey, it was just one basketball game. This is what I need to do to improve. This is how I can define my role for our team better. So that recognition that it's just one basketball game and that, hey, we're going to grow from it, those are the teams that are going to do well in March.
In your mind, does it add some significance now to a tougher road trip where you're going against Duquesne, traveling straight to Bonaventure? Is that something that, after this loss, is something that's on your mind?
I think the way I look at it is the fact that we didn't handle full court press well today, and Duquesne is a team that this year has been pressing for 40 minutes. So, you know, I don't know if that's exactly how you were asking the question, but I look at what from this game translates to the next game, and the fact that we're about to see 40 minutes of press and we did not handle press well, I think that, you know, that's something that we have to discuss as a team and figure out how we're going to improve.
Spoken on the growth of Aisi today, he was 3 from 3 from the field and 3 or 4 from the line. What would you want to see from him going forward in terms of his growth and presence?
Yeah, so we do think Onye's going to be an elite ball screen defender, and for most of tonight's game, he was an elite ball screen defender. With that being said, late in the game, maybe it was fatigue. I don't think he played this many minutes. His ball screen defense was not amazing. And then the other thing that he is a basket protector. And so he has blocked shots at times this season. He may have even had 1 or 2 tonight, I don't know. But there were times when VCU scored at the rim. So Onye's got to improve and understand, you know, maybe at this point in his career, he's protecting the basket 70% of the time. He's got to understand that we've got to get this to like 98% of the time for us to be really effective.